Welcome to a rainy Alawai Neighborhood Park, softball field 2, here in Mo'iliili, across from Iolani School. I'm John Tamanaha. Along that, we're hopeful for Punahou at Iolani varsity softball match.
Yeah, looking forward to this one, John. Shucks, had this marked on my calendar for a few weeks here.
Yeah, so when we were setting up for this, Reed Uweki, class of 18, and I were out here. It was a beautiful sunny day, but things changed quickly. And we were gonna live stream the intermediate baseball tournament down the road. That game has been canceled, we were told. This one, the umpires are out there on the shallow part of the outfield, along with coaches from both teams. And so you are a coach of baseball and softball. So what do the coaches and the umpires do in this situation?
I think they're trying to decide, you know, if this thing is actually going to clear up or not. Is it worth their while to put some turfis or to see? But it's definitely got to stop, this little drizzle here. And as I mentioned, you know, in the past, having been out here for 35 years, it normally will come over Diamond Head. That would be our rain that'll hit us. But this rain is coming from the west side. It's what they call our Kona winds here, so it's a different scenario.
This game, maybe it'll start hopping. Iolani Raiders are 6-2 on the season, tied for first place. A three-way tie with Marino and Kamehameha. Punahou is currently tied for fourth with Mid-Pacific at 3-5. Sacred Hearts is 0-8. That is your ILH situation. Your Iolani Raiders situation, very exciting. Started the season with a 16-12 victory over Mid-Pacific, then dropped 2 in a row. Had some players on the mainland. 3 in a row, actually, but then a forfeit. Marino game got forfeited to Iolani. And then the Raiders have been on I'll say a rampage. 13 runs in a victory over Sacred Hearts. 13 over Kamehameha. Over Marino, and Marino scored 17. That's only part of the story. Fourth inning, Marino was leading 17-10. Raiders scored 8 in the bottom of the fourth.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And then in the top of the fifth, as the sun was setting and all of that, this didn't happen in any other half inning in the game. Marino was held scoreless. Went 1-2-3, which obviously didn't happen in the game. So the top of the
game was called.
Yeah, it was called
because
Raiders were leading. They didn't need to bat as the home team, so it would be an official game, 5 innings. Impending darkness.
Yeah.
Because can you explain that? Because the team had to bat. And,
So in order for it to be a complete game, you have to play 4.5, which they did. But if the Raiders batted in the bottom because they were leading, the umpire deemed that by the time they finished their at bat, it would be dark anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, so the Raiders were in a no-lose situation, really. Yeah. So even if Marino kind of felt the game was called a little early, I agree. You know, there's no point in playing on even more, you know, because now let's say the Raiders went down 1-2-3 real quickly, and they played the top of the sixth. If Marino scored in the top of the sixth, because Iolani was the home team, they would have to finish the bottom of the inning for it to be a complete game and count the sixth. Revert back to the 5th inning anyway.
You would need to complete the 6th inning for it to count in totality.
Right.
That game was, I was here for part of that game. That was
Crazy.
incredible.
Yeah. You know, we're at our own game, and we were watching a scrimmage game around at Pearl City, and one of the coaches had it up on Facebook, and we couldn't believe it either. How it went back and forth and all those runs. But that's softball sometimes, you know.
And those are two of the best teams in the
That's right.
state. And Iolani is the world champions. There was not
They
a
still are.
state championship
right.
last year. The end of the 2020 season got washed out due to the pandemic. Iolani won the state championship in 2019. And Marnell, one of the better teams in the state. So that was best in the purest sense of the word.
Capello, you know, getting back from a trip on the mainland, and then they needed to quarantine for a few days. But you know, they've been leading the charge. You know, Iolani hitting a unbelievable 667 at this point, with 16 runs scored and 22 stolen bases.
Wow.
I mean, unbelievable. And Ali Capello, you know, right behind her at 467. 9 RBIs, and he left off at the end of that 2019 state tournament. You know, last year I think they got maybe a game or two in because of COVID, but you know, really picking up where they left off and leading the charges here for the Raiders.
And Agbayani and Capello, also two of the main pitchers for the Raiders this season. Iolani's pitched 18 2/3 innings. 18 strikeouts. Ali's pitched 9 2/3. 4 strikeouts. Some of the other pitchers, Carly Izul, Kiara Baba.
Yeah, Coach Benny's mentioned that, you know, he has used Carly and Kiara a lot. They're the future, obviously, of the Raider program, and, you know, trying to give them some reps. You know, because of COVID, there was no preseason where the girls could have gotten a little more reps. So he's used 4 pitchers, really. Idea that, you know, he's got to set things up for the future. Well, we got our awesome groundskeeper, Mr. Kevin Lopes here, is also assistant softball coach, and he's out here, and they're trying to survey the field and the situation with Coach Benny Agbayani and decide what is the best course of action here. You know,
Got
like
our headphones on. What did he say, Reed? What was he yelling at us?
Yes, if you guys are going to talk for 2 hours.
No, there's no lights here, Kevin.
Yeah. And, you know, normally there is a product called Turfis that they can throw down that will, you know, absorb moisture. But like I keep saying, it's going to have to stop raining soon. No sense they throw that down and it keeps raining.
We should call him over here. Oh, Eddie Mariama's talking to us.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh, Eddie's handing back the Mevo camera.
Yeah.
Some of you might have been tuning in to intermediate baseball tournament down the road. That got washed out. Eddie brought back the camera that you were looking at. Thank you, Eddie. Subbing for Wendell Look, who's the baseball AD. But Wendell Look, if we turn around, Coach Dean, the football team is still going through their workouts.
Football still got practice going.
Football,
rain or shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like the rain coming from the sky is not too bad right now, but the field, there's some puddling.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're at sea level, so, you know, there's no real place for the water to go, especially if it's high tide. So, but, you know, I see some breaking up of the cloud cover here a little bit, you know, optimistically, but we'll see. Kevin Lopes can do some magic here out here. He normally does, but we'll see, because if we don't get started soon, you know, of course, just like Monday's game, the daylight is going to become an issue.
Coach Wendell Look is across Hihivai Street, yelling some things out. He's talking to Coach Benny Agbayani of the Iolani Raiders. This is the inner workings of what it goes on with coaches and ADs and groundskeepers and umpires.
That's right.
We had to dry our equipment off and see if it got working.
You know, technically the rule is that before the game starts, it's the discretion of the home team to determine whether, in this kind of rain delay, whether they're going to start the game or not. Once the game begins, then it becomes the discretion of the umpires whether they're going to call it or not. So that's why the umpires are just kind of hanging back a little bit here, not making any kind of decision at this point.
Now Eddie has a cart on the field.
Yeah.
So what happens with the players during this is kind of interesting. The Punahou Buff and Blue to our left had a boom box, and they're blasting some copyrighted songs, which might be in trouble with YouTube, but they're not doing it anymore. But both teams are in their dugouts and having a good time.
Yeah. You know, I just commented to you and Reed. I mean, you never see this in baseball, right? Softball, they play music, they're dancing, passing the time here, probably having a dance party or a little bit of a competition here, you know, going on. Yeah, you don't see that in baseball.
I think what I noticed recently in softball is they're not going through the kind of planned out chants as much as they did 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe when you were the coach, there was like, it's kind of like English soccer. Like they had, they had
right.
routines and.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a choreographed cheer for each player. You know. Yeah. So based on your number and your personality, they've got your own personal little cheer when you get up to bat.
The Iolani team consists of, well, previously, prior to this game, only juniors and sophomores, no seniors.
Okay, we got the official word from Coach Benny there. They're gonna call it.
So in that case, if it was senior night, it is not. There are not any seniors on the team, but they did call up 4 freshmen. And their next game, now as we look at it, will be against Sacred Hearts here at 2 o'clock on Saturday. We will bring that to you on Facebook Live on the Iolani Raiders account. Later on tonight on that same account, tune in for varsity boys volleyball, Iolani versus Mid-Pacific in the first round of the ILH tournament. The winner of that will play at Kamehameha on Saturday in the semifinals. So that is it from here. Rain out.
Yeah, bummer.
Signing off, John Tamanaha, Reed Uweki, Dean Yonamine. We'll see you next time. Aloha.